Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your questions, your sources, and try to unlock the insight. Today, we've got a really interesting one, especially if you're into sports analytics, fantasy football maybe.
Yeah, this one's definitely relevant there.
The question is, does a tight end's college yards after catch per reception, does that really predict how they'll do in the NFL?
Right. And we're digging into this massive 69-part series called Does It Matter from brainyballers.com. They really went deep on this specific stat.
69 parts. Wow. Okay, so they really investigated this.
They did. And our mission today really is to cut through some of that noise and show you what their analysis actually found. They looked at top 50 fantasy performers, PPR formats, since 2017, and they looked at everything, averages, specific thresholds for YAC, trying to find that predictive edge.
And how did they do it? What was the method?
Well, they compared the top 10 fantasy finishers each year against the bottom 10. So, players ranked 41st to 50th.
Gotcha. Using college YAC data.
Exactly. Career YAC data from PFF.
So, you'd kind of expect a connection, wouldn't you? Did the initial look, the averages, suggest that?
Well, yeah, that's what's interesting. Initially, the averages chart did show that the top 10 guys generally had higher college YAC data. They actually outperformed the bottom 10, and I think it was 5 out of the 7 seasons they looked at.
So that's like, 71.4% success rate? That sounds pretty promising, actually.
Sounds promising, right, on the surface. But, when you looked at the visual trend, it was there, but maybe not overwhelming.
Okay, not a slam dunk just from the averages.
No. So they pushed a bit further. They tried to see if there was a specific, reliable YAC number, a threshold.
And did they find one? Like a magic number?
They did, actually. Through, more detailed analysis, they pinpointed an optimal range. It was between...
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At brainyballers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting ability so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers' Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
4.9 and 7.3 YAC per reception.
4.9 to 7.3. That's quite specific.
Yeah, and if you were just looking at that one stat, tight ends in that range, they had a 39.2% higher appearance rate in the top 10 compared to the bottom 10.
Whoa, almost 40% higher. That sounds like the aha moment then.
It seems like it, doesn't it? Like, okay, that's the number. Look for guys between 4.9 and 7.3. Well, here's the twist, and this is why the deep dive matters, right? They needed to apply like a proper statistical test. Rigorous.
Okay, so not just eyeballing the averages or the ranges.
Exactly. They used the Pearson correlation coefficient.
Measures how strongly two things are linked.
Precisely. And when they calculated the Pearson value, they got 0.039.
0.039. That sounds tiny. Really tiny.
It is tiny. Extremely low. What that number tells you is, basically no substantial correlation at all.
No connection. So the range, the averages, that was just noise.
Essentially. For context, right? Think about draft capital for quarterbacks. That's something people know matters.
Right. Higher draft pick usually means more opportunity, maybe better prospect.
Yeah, and the Pearson value there is negative 0.2, which shows a definite, inverse link.
Okay, so negative 0.2 means something.
It means something. Our 0.039 for YAC, it's basically flatlining. It indicates pretty much no reliable relationship.
Okay, so let's bring this back. What does this mean for you, the listener, building your fantasy team, or just analyzing players? Despite those initial hopeful signs, the visual trend, even finding that optimal range of 4.9 to 7.3. The big takeaway from this brainyballers.com analysis is college YAC per reception. It should not be used as a definitive indicator, not for success, not for failure for tight ends in fantasy football.
So all that talk about needing guys who can run after the catch in college, maybe not so crucial based on this data.
Exactly. This study found no meaningful predictive connection. It's just not there in the numbers when you test it properly. Now look, if you are still considering YAC, along with a bunch of other metrics, sure, maybe hope for a guy in that 4.9 to 7.3 range.
Because that group did appear in the top 10 more often, even if the overall correlation is weak.
Right. But the core finding, the statistically sound one, is that YAC itself is largely noise in predicting fantasy success at the position. And this really raises a bigger question, doesn't it? Which is, what other stats, what other indicators that seem important on the surface might actually just be noise once you really perform a proper deep dive into the data? That's something for you to think about as you evaluate your next insights, whatever field you're looking into.